Welcome back to Getting to Green. My name is Kevin, and we just finished up doing some Vue and Vue routers. So we have our Vue JavaScript rendering in the browser, and we have different pages that have different content on it. We could easily see it. We could switch back before our home and our about page, right? We're not going to do an about page. I don't care about that, but it proves a concept here for us. So the next thing I want to do is I actually want to hook up Axios here. I want to click a button and be able to pull in our to-dos from the back end, right? We want to see our to-dos, and they're all stored in the database already. We'll create some brand new actual inputs in there, and we'll start displaying them. So, and while we're at it, we're also going to, do some TDD and, test to make sure that Axios is doing what it's expected to be doing. All right, so let's dive into it. Actually, we haven't saved anything to the server, so why don't we go to Vagrant SSH into here, and let's go over to our project and actually create a couple of to-dos, right? So we're in Homestead. We're going to cd into code and Getting to Green to do. And in here we could do PHP artisan. Actually, let's make sure I have that. MySQL. User is Homestead and the password. So show data tables. Show databases. All right, so we have our whip version. So we don't have that. Let's exit. I think if we just hit PHP artisan migrate, will it create that for us? Oh yeah. First off, we don't want to have so what we want to do, let's exit out of here, let's go. So we have in here, we have to go into our .env, and we actually never set up the MySQL. So we have MySQL, all the hosting stuff, but we called it Laravel. I'm going to call it GTG to do. Getting to Green. This is our to do. This is fine. I think we need a homestead, and our password is a super secret. So I can save that. That should push up to the top here. And if we're in here, we could cd into our thing again. Getting to Green, code, Getting to Green, and to do. And what we could do is PHP artisan migrate. Is it there? Does not exist. Do you want to? Yes. Let's create it. So now we have our databases, and if we go to PHP artisan tinker, I think I could create to-dos this way. So to-do factory, and we're going to make 10 of them. I'm just going to hit create, and there we go. We just created 10 factories. This is again because we had set up in a previous video our to-do factory. That's in here, to-do factory, which just sets up some random stuff for us, and everything takes care of the rest, right? So now we have some stuff in the database, and we can actually use that data right here. So let's close this. Let's go to, don't need that anymore, or this. Here we have our router view, and we want to go to our home page. So these, our home page, so show some to-dos. And we want a div here. Don't need to give it anything, but then we'll need a UL and then an LI. And for the LI, we're going to have a v4. So LI v4 equals to do in list of to-dos. And here we'll have the to-do.title. We're also going to need a key. So key equals to-do.id. All right. This is where we should probably start getting into some TDD stuff, right? We have our actual page, and we want to start making sure that it's able to do something, right? Getting the actual project set up, you don't really need, making sure that Vue is installed and checking to make sure that it's displaying something, because we don't know what it is we want to display at this point. We just want to display. So, writing a test for that isn't going to be useful down the line. But for something where you can actually click a button and pull in some stuff, this is going to be useful. We might have to change it down the road, but it's something that we can do. So let's start focusing in on that. So here we have our to-dos again. Our home page. I want to keep my tests within the same folder, but in its own tests folder, right? So here we'll have a test for homepage.spec.ts. This is where we're going to start describing some stuff. I want to describe our homepage. And what I want to do is, it can fetch all the to-dos, right? Should be very simple. I want to, what do I want to do? I want to get a button. So again, this is where it's fun to start with TDD, right? You have pretty much an infinite amount of options in front of you. You can do anything in the world, right? So right now, it's kind of like you're getting to kind of sketch out what you're willing to work with, right? Do I want to grab a button, an anchor tag? Do I want it to say something? You get a lot of these little, features. Am I going to have this do that? Whatever. But the most important thing is that if you're testing anything within your Vue pages or your components, you want to be testing the actual output of that stuff. You're not going to be testing the functions within it, and I'm going to reiterate that again once we start diving into this. But first thing I want to do is I want to say it could fetch the to-dos. I don't need all this stuff. But we can say, first off, we need a wrapper. So const wrapper equals, and we're going to mount this, and we're going to say our home page, right? And we don't need anything in it. So first off, we need mount and home page. So let's import mount from at Vue test utils, and we need a home page. So import home page from, well, I don't know where it is now. Oh, it's right there. So home page. This worked out. And so now we have the home page. We have a wrapper. Right. So what we want is we need, we're going to get a wrap. So wrapper dot get, I'm going to say button here. Again, this isn't something that I'm going to have throughout the entire app, but we want to trigger a click on this event, and we're going to want to await that click event. So here we'll have, this will be async, right? So we're going to wait for that. And then we want const to-do list equals wrapper dot find all. And you know what? This is something that I want to look into. So in the home page, we have all these, and I'm going to actually add a data test ID here. And we're going to name this to-do list item. And we could say like dash to-do.id. That'll give us our actual, maybe I don't do that, maybe I do. All right, we could do, boop. All right, so we can add a to-do test ID like this, but I'm going to leave it simple for now. We're going to get all the data items. So in here, I want to find all. This is going to be like this. Open up the brackets. Data test ID equals to-do list item. And what this is going to allow us to do, it's very obvious that it's meant for something. So it's very unlikely that we would change this out. So if we were trying by a class, right, and we did to-do list item, and we wanted to grab it by this, we absolutely could. But maybe down the line, we're, changing out the CSS framework. Maybe we're doing something with Tailwind, and this then becomes like a block, and then it has a P4 on it, right? And you have all this stuff which doesn't mean anything, but for some reason you decide that you want to have it. It's fine, but you can't really rely on classes for any of that stuff, and IDs aren't really very useful either. But with this, with having the test data ID, it says something to the developer. It says this is important, this is used for something, and it's within the tests, right? And this is how we're going to actually integrate with that. So that's here. And now what we have to do is just make sure that we can expect that the to-do list to have a length of, we'll say 3. Right? I just want to see what happens. So if I create a new thing, we do yarn test spec, start running vtest, and this page should be found, and we have one failing. So let's see what we're failing here. So we're not getting that button. All right, so that's the first thing. So let's go in here. We have our div, we have our UL. Let's add a button here. Button, and we'll say fetch to-dos. Now hit save. So now we get it, but we're expecting this list to have 3 in it, and we don't. And you can see in here we have a list, but there's no actual list set up here. So we're going to need that. So let's say const list equals ref, and it's an empty array. We need to import that. Ref from view. So now we can save. That squiggly line goes away. And we're actually still having no luck. We're getting a length of 3. So what are we getting? Are we getting anything? Obviously we don't have Axios hooked up, but we can do something kind of cool here. So expect, if you ever done like a console logging within your tests, it could get kind of annoying. Sometimes it's turned off. Sometimes certain things aren't what you're expecting. So, but we could do something kind of cool here. So expect. We'll say wrapper.vm.list. So we're actually going to grab that list right out of the VM to match inline snapshot. We're not going to give it anything. Let's see, does this not exist on type? Let's see, does this do anything? Look at that. Filled it in with an empty array. So we're actually not getting anything. This is kind of like console logging, but obviously not. And I want to do a full video on the inline snapshots and snapshots in general, because they are really cool actually. So, but they're kind of weird to get started with. Initially I thought that they were taking photos. It doesn't matter. Let's get back into it. So we need Axios, and within our test we can actually stub that out. So let's say what do I want to return? So const, what do I want to call this? How about expected response? Expected response. And, well, I don't really know what that response is going to be. So let's take a look at the actual home page here. What's going to happen? So let's start playing around with this. We can say at click equals fetch. Fetch is fine. We can come up here. We can have our const fetch equals a function. That function is going to say Axios dot get. I'm going to say our to-dos. And then we're going to say dot then. And take that response. And we're going to first off log that response. So I want to see what it says. And then I want to say list dot value equals response dot data, I believe it is. So let's save this. Come back to our to-dos here. We have our little to-do thing here. And Axios error. It's got a 404. So to-dos, let's go look at our web routes. We got our to-do. We don't have a get. So route get to-dos. And we say to-dos controller class. That's not how you spell class. Index. And we're going to name this. It's not important anymore, but I like this. Keep it all in line. And then we save that. Let's see what happens. Does it give us a different error? 500. So we did a bad response. It'll probably tell us that that doesn't actually exist. But maybe not. Which is good. It doesn't matter to the front end. So if we follow this, you can see we have all of our to-dos here. We could say index, and we're going to take in nothing because we don't care. And we're going to return a response. And that response is going to be JSON. And we want our to-dos to be to-do all. And that's imported, right? Yep. My editor sometimes gets a little weird with this. But now if we come back here and we refresh, fetch the to-dos, we actually got something. So we have our, something came back. We got a 200 status code. We have our data. And data is undefined. So I think that should have given us an array of all of our to-dos. Do we have it in here at all? Data to-dos. Okay. I was looking in config. Data, to-dos. There's all of our to-dos. Look at that. We got 10 of them. So that's awesome. So back in homepage, response.data.todos. I believe that's in there. So if we come back here, refresh that, there they are. Look at that. So now we got all of our to-dos. We got 10 of them. And they're all sitting right there, looking so beautiful. Just the best looking application that you can ask for. So let's go back to our test. We kind of know essentially what we're expecting now, which is all of this stuff, which we just need the data and some to-dos. I'm going to copy some of this. And I'm going to go back into here. And this is what I want to be. You know, we can actually copy object. There we go. So we have the one. Let's make 2 of these. So we should be expecting 2 of them. I'll update ID equals 2. And I don't really care about this stuff. I care about the title. And that's really it. The ID a little bit, right? So we're going to say what's returned is data. And then in data, we have our to-dos. And then into to-dos is this. And save it. So that's our stuff. Let's see. Well, let me, yeah. Let's keep that in line. Make it nice and easy. This is what we're expecting. And what we're going to do is, well, we have to, you know, mock this. What we could do is use sign in for this. So let's cancel our test. Hello? All right, so I'm going to yarn add sign-in. This is a JS package just meant for you know, just mocking out some things. And what I want to do is stub out Axios. So signin.stub Axios is get request, right? And this is going to resolves our expected response. So now Axios is going to try and do this. So let's see what happens. Yarn test spec. I'm going to delete this stuff. I want to see what happens. I'm going to save it. We're still getting a failure, and because the sign-in import sign-in from sign-in. Okay. So down here, we're going to say, why is it failing? Save it. All right. Axios stub. Axios is not defined. So let's import Axios as well. Import Axios from Axios. And let's see, to have a length of 3. Right, so what did we get here? Oh, check this out. So that inline snapshot updated, we have an array of 2 items. So yeah, we're saying 2. We actually want received 0. Right, so we're getting this. We're awaiting stuff. But we actually want to await a little bit more. Await. We want wrapper.vm next tick. Now that should that should have worked. Click that, find all. Let's see what we're getting here. So we know that the wrapper's actually fetching all that stuff. Let's see what the to-do list gives us. An empty array. So find all data test ID. Maybe we screwed this up. Let's go back to our home page, and we get no test results. Data test ID to-do list item. I don't know if these ticks mean anything to us. Save it. No. We are getting, let's do, hit that again. Yep, now we're passing. Those little ticks were actually what were kind of messing us up. But if we go back to our spec, we could see that we did get DOM wrappers, and we got all this kind of interesting stuff. So we could see what we did, but we don't really need this anymore. So delete inner this. Nope. Delete inner you. There you go. Remove that. And now we have everything that we need. We have a passing test. We know that this works, and we're able to click a button and have Axios do all its work for us. All right. So the next thing I want to do, which is going to be in the next video, is I'm going to hook this up to Pina. I'm staring at the wrong thing. Like I'm looking at the. The next thing I want to do is actually have Pina hooked up into this so that we can have some state management, right? If we look again at our page, which is the most beautiful, put me back here. Here's all of our stuff. It's all working. We go back to about, we come back to home, and all of that's gone. So if we could fetch it again, but it'd be nice if we could come back to home and it still be there. You know, sometimes, you know, going to different pages, maybe you don't want to have it there. Maybe you want to initially fetch it, stuff like that. But just to prove a point, we'll do that. And I think that's going to do it for today. So that was View Router. So again, just a quick recap. We have our two different pages, our links, right? So that's going through there. And then we have some Axios that we also have some tests backing that up. All right, so the next video, we're going to take a look at Pina and get some state management hooked up into this and see how that works. All right. Well, what do I say at the end of these? It's been so... Cheers, right? Cheers!